Hi everyone, this is Melissa with the Creative Season. Welcome to the end of the summer series where we are finishing up with a lovely sunflower watercolor sketch that we can incorporate into a beautiful journal page celebrating all of the gifts of the season. I love looking back and remembering all the beautiful things that have happened. It's already starting to just give us the hint of fall, but let's not go into autumn yet. Let's linger in the summer, and as we do, I've got a special announcement for you, and I'm just going to really enjoy painting with you on this one final watercolor sketch of the summer. I'm so glad you're here. Hi everyone, well welcome to the final session of the YouTube series for the summer, as well as the final video for the YouTube channel overall. I may come back and do some more, but as of now, this is going to be the conclusion of the YouTube channel for the Creative Season. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that as we get going on our very fun and very special Summer's End video session today. So if you've painted with me for a while, you know I like to do these journal kind of watercolor sketches, especially seasonally. And so in the spring, we had done what I was calling the spring gifts of 2025. And we painted peonies, we'd done some splattering, and I had just written all the gifts of the spring season, or many of them, sketched them into the flower, a Bible verse that was reflective of the season, and also I felt like this season was a season of sustaining grace for me, and this becomes somewhat of just a memorial for the spring season, a simple way to both remember and celebrate the gifts of the season. So now that we're end of summer, I'm going to do the same thing, but we're going to do sunflowers this time, and I had a beautiful bunch of sunflowers for a couple of weeks, and they didn't even, like, the petals didn't fall off, they just kind of wilted and then just sunk a little bit. And so I thought it was just a beautiful way of that transition from summer to fall, and so we've sketched that out. I've got the sketch on the blog. There's a link in the show notes if you wanted to copy the PDF, or you can, this is the similar one. I added some extra leaves. I'll come in and just zoom on this for a minute if you wanted to pause and sketch that out. And feel free to use your Micron pen to sketch. That will help to create less time to go back and do additional sketching. But you can see I've got 3 flowers here. I've got one facing us. I've got one almost leaning to the side, and a portrait sort of suppose of looking at the side of the face. And then one sunflower is almost looking down. And so what we're going to do first is I'm going to start by painting the faces of the sunflowers, and then I'll do the leaves and the stems, and then we'll come back and do the petals. Now I'm not going to tape this down today, and you will see that this will, you can kind of tell the paper buckled a bit, and I'll just set it underneath some heavy books and let it flatten down. So that happened too when I had put on the wash, but the sketch really kind of extended out everywhere, so I thought I was going to forego the watercolor or the tape, and we're just going to go ahead and paint. So grab your paints and grab some clean water, and let's go ahead and start. And then I'll talk a little bit more about what's ahead. Okay, so this, if you didn't know, and I don't really talk about a lot, I had started this channel during the pandemic when I had a WordPress site at the time, and I was having trouble getting videos on and then getting the tech all connected so that people could watch them or sign up for them. I have a different system now on the website, and it's much easier for both for me and the user. But back in the pandemic, it wasn't so, and so I wanted to do something with the art and creating. And a couple people had asked me for videos, just a handful, and so I started putting them on YouTube, and I found it was a lot easier. It took me a little bit of learning curve. I am not the world's fastest techie person, that's for sure. But I slowly but surely just started to learn how to navigate YouTube, and then there's a couple years I think I was putting them up every Wednesday, every week. There was the Christmas collection that I launched on YouTube, which was a big Christmas conference that we had done, and that was fantastic. That was a lot of fun. And then the last couple of years I've really enjoyed the YouTube, but this year especially, I think it's not been, for sure, not quite as consistent. Okay, I'm going to grab my greens. So I used raw umber for the faces, and now I'm going to use a little bit of cadmium yellow for the center, and then I have a hooker's green and a warmer sap green, and you can use either one or mix them up. You could always add some of the yellow into your green, and I'm going to add some yellow right onto my the paper. You'll notice with sunflowers that the leaves, and this is a fresh batch of sunflowers that I just got today, but the leaves, let me pull one out. There are different kinds of sunflowers, different shades, but typically the leaves are a lot deeper color, and then look at the stems are almost a yellow green. So I always like accentuating the difference in color when I'm creating these. So I'm going to start with a lighter green, and then I'm going to add some yellow, especially the stems, and we're going to finish up with the yellow on the petals, in which I will also use just a combination of yellows to create the beautiful sunflower colors and to really create a nice depth. So this year too, I knew I had so much on my plate that something probably needed to go. I think too, well, I've so enjoyed this. There are lots and lots of beautiful video channels on YouTube that are much more tech savvy than I am, and just seemed like this was what needed to be let go of in order to open up some time for some other things. So of course I'm just going to leave the channel up. The videos will be up. If you would like to continue paint with me, if you're not already on the email list, that I'll have a link for that below. There's still going to be quite a bit of free things, but I do, off my website, I like to do extra things. So we always do sketching together. I usually come on camera and talk a little bit about the theme. There might be some additional writing or devotional or something like that that I've included, journal entries, and so all of that is housed over at the Creative Season. So that is still going to be up and going, but there's some new projects coming up as well, and I'm just excited about those. Let me come in so you can see that. And I was remembering something my economics teacher said in high school. It's the only thing I remember from economics class. It was the first day, and she said the rule of economics: unlimited wants and limited resources. And I've always remembered that. It really struck me. I thought, isn't that just life? There is a limited amount of things I would love to do. I always have a list of more things and projects that I want to do than I have time or resources or energy to do them. And so making that decision about what to move forward with, it is hard to let things go, I have to say. And this was never meant to be huge. It was never my intention to grow this big. It's not. It's just a nice and small channel, but it's been such a blessing of getting to know a few people, as well as just painting regularly and sharing just a simple way of creating lovely art in just shorts about a time. That was the goal of the channel, was to show too that you do not need to spend hours upon hours to really make lovely art and to really find a hobby that you're satisfied with. You know, none of us are trying to be Monets or Picassos here. We are painting for the joy of it, for the love of flowers. I think flowers are a wonderful medium subject matter. There's so much we can learn, and it's just such a beautiful, beautiful subject matter to create. And I think it makes for great gifts. It makes for, you know, if you want to decorate your house in your own paintings, all sorts of things that you can do with them. So it has been just such, it's been so much fun to be on YouTube and to be part of this for the last couple of years. It's actually been crazy when I was thinking about it. The time goes by fast, doesn't it? It just flies by. So that is where we are. And I was thinking too about just this year and this different seasons. This summer has been full, but it's not been overwhelming. It felt like that at the beginning, but I think I had some crazy stuff kind of rolling in from the spring. The spring was pretty intense. But this summer, while it's been full, it's really been, it's been good. It's not been overly busy. There have been people who came and visited me here in New York, which I have loved, loved, loved. I went out to both Phoenix and a short trip to California, short trips for both, to see friends and family, and that was absolutely lovely as well. I've read lots of biographies this summer, and I've just been so encouraged by the resilience and the strength of people who have gone through incredible things, especially people from previous centuries who just didn't have a lot of the conveniences that we have, and yet they really, none of that stopped them. And the lack of They just had lots of uncertainty in their lives, and yet they just kind of kept forward with what was in their hearts, or what they sensed they were given to do with their lives, what they wanted their lives to be about. And I have just loved reading these biographies. Okay, let's continue right over here with this, a little bit more depth. You can see I just kind of been dabbing the color, making sure too, as you make one final note around before we go to the yellow, did we get all of our stems? And I forgot this part right here because this flower is just kind of falling forward a bit. So we want to get him, get him painted. And you know, we don't have to paint the whole thing. Let's leave some white spots, right? So let the light just kind of bounce off that. Okay. I want to add a little bit more color. We are starting to really see just the hints of the beginnings of fall. Even I was seeing some geese flying in formation. It feels a bit early because it is September 1st on Monday, but it feels like things are shifting faster this year. I don't know if you can hear those birds outside. I've had several birds out just singing away. Let's go to the yellow now. There's been construction work on the house, the apartment, I don't know what, it's about a 5-story brownstone across the way behind me. And there's the construction workers. It's been fine, but it's loud. So I'm recording this on a Saturday, and it's been very quiet this morning, which has been lovely. Okay, and I'm just going to add a little bit of yellow ochre. If you don't have yellow ochre, grab, whatever yellow you do have. You can always add a little bit of brown to it, or a little bit of like a cadmium yellow, a brighter yellow, depending on what you're using, to brighten up your sunflowers. I like to start out with this, and then I'm going to start dropping in a lighter yellow, or a brighter yellow, I should say, and just moving this around. And sometimes I do the opposite. And if you ever felt like the painting was a little bit heavy, you can take a dry paintbrush and just kind of dab some of that excess paint out. And then I want to come back to this, but I can just kind of dab that away. And we did splatters in let me come in closer, this next one, in the Peony Spring Watercolor session. And this time though, I was just going to do a wash, and I won't do that on the video because everything just needs to dry. But then if you want to come back and do a wash, a nice yellow, soft yellow wash looks nice, but even green would look good. On this one I might do a green. And I'll show you the finished one after I get this yellow on. And I'm just going to dab. And since I already have a sketch with the micron pen, everything looks pretty. There's a distinctness to it. You could always add some micron pen after. That just really helps speed up our process. We can move a little bit faster, and you really can complete just a nice watercolor sketch in about 20 minutes. I had some Veronica flowers about in July, and so I painted a sunflower with the purple Veronica flowers around it, and that was a fun painting to do because purple is the complementary color to yellow. It's great for shadowing too. And that was a fun one. I've been painting. I always love painting sunflowers in the summertime, but also in the fall because it's just a beautiful transition flower. Okay, I'm just adding in a little bit more green where I see some depth here. Remember, watercolor dries lighter, so you're going to add in, if you add in darker and it looks a bit too dark, it's probably perfect. Now I'm going to take a little bit of yellow and I'm going to mix it into the green, and I am just going to do a quick, almost a quick wash over the stems so that they're mostly the same color. Okay, very, very nice. This looks beautiful. Now let's just add a little bit more of a pop of color to our yellow. Let me move this up and see too how I'm going to put this into see that light, nice, bright yellow? I know it's not coming into focus. It's that cadmium yellow. I'm going to pick up some cadmium. Not all sunflowers are that, like almost an orange yellow. The ones I had last week were not, but these ones are, and I'm just going to I just want to add a pop of color. I'm just gonna moving, almost outlining it a bit. Moving over here. And you see how even just that adds a bit, that has a nice pop. And coming back over here and just dabbing that in. It just creates a nice pop over the whole thing. And I don't even know the time here. Let's see. It's about 14 minutes and here we are. We're finishing up our really lovely painting. Now look at the leaves next. And even like with this one right here, I'm going to come down here. See how he just looks a little bit flat. And I don't want the leaves looking flat, so I'm going to pick up some of the sap green. I'm just going to dab. I think the colors just kind of all merge there. Pick up the sap green. I'm going to pick up a little bit of the yellow. I'm just going to let that merge together. Bring it down around. I'm still going to leave some white. But now it kind of looks like almost a hollow up, a little bit of that hollow interior, which is the look I want to create. If it's bent a little bit. And I'm going to do the same over here. Oh, got a little bit. That's okay. A little bit off. And I'm going to grab again some yellow and I'm just going to dab the yellow right in there. It won't dry this dark, but even if it does, that is okay. It's actually really lovely. Even this out a bit. Okay. That looks great. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow here if it was pointing up to the sun, and same with this one. Okay. That looks really good. Now again, if you wanted to add in, you know, I have a Bible verse, I have a theme of the summer, I've written in a lot of my gifts over here, and then I just did a really light yellow wash. You could do a green wash, you could do any color that you want. On the one in spring, I had just done splatters, and that was a different look. Spring is a little bit more of a party season, right? I always think with summer, we're calming down. The heat kind of took the energy out of everything a little bit. And so you could even, of course, leave it white as well. But it just, you have lots of space to fill it in. And then this was the other painting I was talking about earlier with just using the Veronica flowers to almost create a border, a gentle border, and lots of leaves. And I ended up doing a little more pen work with the sunflower, and I'll probably end up putting this under a mat so it just cleans up a little bit. But lots of art you can create with the sunflowers. I just love it. And I have loved painting with you these 20-minute watercolor sketches as well as the other color paintings that we've done. It's been so wonderful. So do sign up for the email if you're not already on it, and you'll continue to catch up and be aware of all the different projects that are coming out. And I hope to see you again, perhaps in person, perhaps at a workshop, at another time. All right, have a wonderful end of your summer and a beautiful beginning of autumn. Take care.